For years, the rules around reservation in India's public employment have been a huge source of debate and, frankly, a lot of confusion. But now, two recent Supreme Court judgments have basically hit the reset button, creating a brand new, much clearer rulebook. So we're going to break down exactly what's changed and, more importantly, why it matters to so many people. So what's all the fuss about? Well, it really all boils down to one central question that has been fueling legal battles for decades. Does the system create a double advantage, a situation where some candidates can use reservation to get in the door and then also compete for open seats? Or is it just a fair system that lets the best people win, no matter where they come from? The Supreme Court finally decided to weigh in and settle it. So in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We are breaking down these two crucial rulings from the Supreme Court. We'll explore not just what they say, but the real-world impact for general candidates, reserved candidates, and even the agencies running these massive exams. All right, so to really get what the court did here, you've got to understand the massive puzzle they were trying to solve. This wasn't just about some administrative rules. This was about trying to balance two incredibly powerful and sometimes conflicting ideas, right from the Constitution itself. See, on one hand, you have the Constitution, which guarantees equality for everyone. It promises an equal shot at public jobs. But on the other hand, it also allows for affirmative action, reservation, to make sure there's social justice for historically disadvantaged communities. The Supreme Court's big challenge? Making these two ideas play nice together, ensuring that one didn't completely cancel out the other. So this entire super complex, decades-long debate, it really came down to two very specific, fundamental questions that the court needed to answer once and for all. Okay, so the first question was pretty straightforward. Can a candidate from a reserved category, SC, ST, or OBC, even compete for a general seat? But the second one, that's where it gets really tricky. What happens if that candidate uses some kind of benefit, like an age relaxation, just to be eligible for the exam? If they end up scoring really high, can they then jump over and claim a general category seat? This right here, this is the very heart of that whole double benefit debate. All right, let's dive into the first big ruling. This one's all about reserved category candidates who compete purely on merit, without taking any concessions. And the court's answer here? It was absolutely crystal clear. If a candidate from a reserved category does not use any reservation benefits, we're talking no age relaxation, no lower cutoff scores, no extra attempts, nothing, then they are to be treated just like a general category candidate. Simple as that. Their performance, their merit, is the only thing that matters. And the logic behind this is really important. The court basically said, hey, the general category is an open category. It's not reserved for any single group. So you can't turn around and disqualify a top-performing candidate just because of their background. It's a really powerful ruling that protects the whole idea of meritocracy. Okay, but what about that second, trickier question? This is where things get a bit more complicated, and it leads us to the court's second huge ruling, which basically says, nope, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And listen, this right here is the real game changer. The moment a candidate accepts a reservation benefit, doesn't matter what it is, could be an age relaxation to get in, a lower fee, anything, they are officially locked in to their reserved quota for the entire process. From start to finish, there's no jumping over to the general lane halfway through the race. Let me walk you through a perfect example of how this works. Imagine a scheduled caste candidate uses an age relaxation to take the exam. Now, the general cutoff is 70, but because there's so much competition, the SC cutoff is actually higher at 77. Our candidate scores a 75. Now you might think, hey, 75 is above the general 70, they should get in. But nope, because they took that age benefit at the start, they are locked into the SC category. And since their score of 75 is below the SC cutoff of 77, they don't get selected. That's the lock-in rule in action. And the court, well, they did not mince words on this. They flat out rejected the idea that a candidate could use reservation as a key to get their foot in the door, and then use their high marks to claim a general seat. They call this whole practice of switching categories unfair and, most importantly, constitutionally impermissible. So we've got these two big, clear rulings. What does this new rulebook actually mean for everybody on the ground? Let's break down the real-world impact. Well, for general category candidates, this brings a lot of clarity. It means those seats are now protected. They can't be claimed by someone who's already used a concession to get ahead. This makes the whole process more transparent and finally addresses that long-standing grievance about a double advantage. And what about for reserved category candidates? Well,
this actually clarifies things for them, too. It gives proper recognition to the high achievers who compete and win in the open category on merit alone. And for those who do choose to use the benefits, their quota is still totally protected. The court made a big point of saying this isn't about stigma. It's just about making a choice that has clear, predictable results. You know who's probably breathing a huge sigh of relief? All the recruiting agencies, like the UPSC. For them, this is a godsend. They finally have clear, standard rules for the whole country. It forces them to lock in a candidate's category right from the get-go, which should stop all that after-the-fact messing with selection lists. And that means, hopefully, way fewer court cases, which makes the whole process faster and more transparent for everyone.
So, when you take a step back and look at these two rulings together, you realize the Supreme Court isn't just tweaking the rules. It's sending a really powerful message about what equality and opportunity are all about in India. And that message really comes down to three big ideas. First, that merit and reservation are not enemies. They're supposed to work together. Second, that real equality doesn't always mean treating everyone the exact same way. Sometimes you need to give people different support to get to the same starting line. And finally, the big one. Affirmative action is there to level the playing field, not to give anyone a double dip or an unfair leg up.
Yeah, this one quote from the court just says it all. Affirmative action must not become an unfair advantage. That right there is the new guiding principle. It's all about making sure the ladder of opportunity is there for those who need it, without letting it become a shortcut that messes up the fairness of the whole system. So the Supreme Court has drawn a very clear line in the sand, trying to finally strike that delicate balance between merit and social justice. The big question we're all left with is, have they finally gotten it right? Something to think about.